Representative DiMassa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Turner, a couple of questions, and I always kind of start off with a brief statement. As you know, last year, because you were at the hearings last year, I don't mean any line of questioning to be derogatory towards you or the lottery. Sometimes I ask challenging questions, and certainly, I have to tell you, I toured the lottery, so I did go last week before, toured the lottery. I've read this report twice. I have not seen the video. I will go see the video when it's available with DCP. However, I have some issues with this report. I really do, and I echo the sentiments of the chair in regards to the fact that it's an internal, investigation. I would have liked to see a third party do the investigation. Perhaps in the future, as Senator Larson mentioned, maybe that's possible to have an independent third party look at this. But let's talk about, and it's some of these things have obviously been brought up already, but this checklist, it's unofficial, it's official. Do you use a checklist in any game at the lottery?
Checklists are used in many games.
Okay, so checklists are used in many games. DCP does not review those checklists? So DCP doesn't, so they're being used?
We don't officially approve them. It's as they're used as a tool, so we sometimes will see them, or we may offer some input, but the games are to be done with the procedures, and if any specific employee finds that a checklist will help them follow and keep up with the procedures, that's something they're allowed to use, or have been.
So it's safe to assume then that if I'm a lottery employee, okay, I've got games where checklists are being used, sometimes DCP sees them, sometimes DCP doesn't see them. The ones that are used in other games, are they included with the official rules of the game, and are they signed off on?
Sorry, can you repeat that, please?
In the other games where you use a checklist and you're acknowledging a checklist is used, is it submitted with the rest of the rules to be approved?
Not that I'm aware of. We're currently auditing, obviously, all of our games and procedures, but please know that the checklist is not supposed to be a substitute for the approved written procedures. And again, please know that a checklist was never used in the previous 9 iterations of this super draw game.
But, here's my problem. These employees are not just involved with this game. They're involved with other games. I'm going to assume that, and first of all, since we brought this up, does the lottery supervisor regularly do these drawings?
Yes, the drawing performer that is was in charge of was the drawing performer for this particular drawing. Her entire job is drawings.
Okay,
And then
so she's involved in certainly a lot of other drawings.
correct.
Some of these drawings, these checklists are used?
Yes.
Well, then I have a serious problem with the findings in this report, because if you're going to say something is unauthorized and not official, but it's being used in other games, and it seems in the other games it's being used and it's following this same path. I don't know if Mr. Dupuis is signing off on it, but that's neither here nor there. It's being used, it's known it's being used, and it's accepted. So if you're going to have something that's accepted here, then you're not going to accept it over here, and then you're going to hold employees responsible, saying, well, gee, you really shouldn't have used it. I have an issue with that. You have a procedure, it has to be followed for every single game, especially with, the lottery. And as Senator Larson points out, and he makes a great point, look, the pile of money isn't in the room, no, but these employees need to be treating it as such, okay? This is a very serious job that's now resulted in almost $1 million in loss. It's a serious, serious business. So moving on from the checklist, the sign-off here on the 28th, which I have. Now, Attorney Stone obviously says now he didn't see the procedures till the 28th when they were being circulated for signature. Is that correct?
It's either the 27th or the 28th, yes.
And you were on vacation.
Yes.
So how did this approval process take place? I'm assuming that did Mr. Walter call you and say, I need, someone needs to sign off on these, a legal representative needs to sign off? How did that take place?
Right, we have an understanding that if I'm out, Andrew is authorized to sign on my behalf.
So did he read these?
Yes, he did.
So he read them. So I want to know who's taking responsibility on the legal side of the lottery. So technically then, did you read them in their entirety?
No, I did not.
So you didn't. So you're giving him authority to sign your name based on the fact that you're saying he read them.
Yes, he did.
And, earlier the chair asked if he has the authority to approve, I think if that was and I really didn't hear an answer from the lottery. So he really you are really the one that has to approve that, correct?
Yes.
So that's another issue then. I mean, if you're the one that needs to approve it, and I appreciate your honesty that you didn't read it, but, so he's putting your signature on, you know, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, he probably read it, you know, maybe, you know, is he new? How long has he been with the lottery?
I believe a little over 5 years,
And how long have you been with the lottery?
a little over 1 year.
So he's actually been there a considerable amount of time longer, but the fact
Correct.
remains that, you know, if you are responsible for, you know, ultimately signing off on this, then that's the process I need to see happen. And it's the same thing for you know, for the temporary CEO. I appreciate the fact that you were on vacation, you've been honest, you're on vacation, but look, this is a serious drawing that takes place, you know, over a certain amount of time. It's not necessarily a regular drawing, it's not the play 3. You know, you need to be on the ground on these things. You have to be there. It's what you're getting paid a lot of money to do. And I understand about vacations, I do, but at the same time, there's an accountability here. Let's talk about who reviews the videos. So we do videos of these test runs. Who in upper management reviews those?
There's practice drawings, and there's a team of people that goes to the practice drawings. Often it's beyond the 5-member team.
So have you reviewed before the official drawing, did you review any of those preliminary videos or drawings, or did you personally?
I did not.
You did not.
As I said earlier, I rely on Fred Dupuy, and I have 2 senior staff agendas that lays out what each of our responsibilities are, and under Mr. Dupuy, it says Connecticut Super Draw, and it says test drawings. In addition, I verbally checked in with Mr. Dupuy on a number of occasions throughout the month of December to make sure that we were in good shape for that drawing.
Well, you know, since obviously we've gotten to Mr. Dupuy, and, you know, I really do appreciate Senator Fasano's comments on that. I think we need to hear his side of the story, and I would certainly ask the chair to arrange that. If it comes to the point of, you know, firmly requesting his presence, obviously the chair under 2-46 has that ability. I don't think it's necessary. I think he's more than willing to testify. He has in the past. But, you know, his name's getting thrown out an awful lot today. And you know, what concerns me is, you know, he was integral in some past investigations that frankly uncovered quite a few things at the lottery. And, you know, I'm very concerned about the fact that he seems to be the person at the forefront here who's kind of getting pushed out there. And listen, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve criticism. I'm not saying he did everything correctly. However, I am saying that, you know, it's concerning that somebody who was integral in the 5-card cash investigation, for example, that uncovered a lot of things at the lottery, is now being the first one kind of pushed out here, because I think we've probably heard his name more than anybody else's today so far. So, Mr. Dupuy, let's talk about that. So, I read in this report something about a handwritten note with a past that he said he indicated that this drawing that there were checklists used in the past for other super draws. Now you're saying that's not correct, and he said it was. Is that your interpretation?
Yes.
So I would ask through you, Mr. Chair, that we be provided. I would like to see that note. I would like to see that handwritten note and whatever went along with it. And so just a couple more things, and then I'll yield. Hopefully, perhaps we'll have a second go around on this at a later date. But the accountant, so Markham, does he receive a copy of these approved drawing instructions prior to the drawing?
Yes, they do.
And he brought that copy with him. So he had a copy and he brought it with him.
Yes.
So, in all honesty, you know what? He's an external factor. He is supposed to go there and ensure that these procedures that he's walked in with are followed. So in all honesty, I really don't care who handed him what. It doesn't matter. He got something before he got there. That's what he's supposed to follow. You know what? Whether someone handed him the checklist and he followed it, that's on him and that's on the firm. And I'm sure you will take that up. But you know what? At the end of the day, he is supposed to be an external factor. The moment he walks in that room, he shouldn't be taking anything into account other than what he had when he got there, because that's his job. You know, it's like anything else. If somebody wants to pull him aside and talk about their New Year's Eve plans, he's supposed to be the one that says, no, I'm an external factor. I need to review these things. Is that your interpretation of his role?
Yes.
Perfect. Excellent. So, Mr. Chair, you know what? I will will yield. I hope that we get a second go-around, a later date at this, and I would encourage Mr. Dupuy to attend. Thank you very much.